you. I heard a story when I was in college about the keeper of the bridge. And basically it's a story of a man who had a job at a drawbridge, and I think it's in San Francisco in the Bay Area or whatever, but it was in a Bay Area. And his job was to let the bridge up and down. It was a train bridge, and passenger trains would come over, and then at certain times from the bay, ocean liners coming in and so forth, they would have to open it because there's smokestacks, and the barges, or not barges, but the stacking of those ships, the containers are so high they have to open it up. So his job was to open the bridge, close the bridge, open the bridge, as scheduled things came through. This little boy was fascinated with his job. He'd never been there, young, and he wanted to take him, so his dad got permission, took him that day. They went in there and he showed him around, and like any boy, being a young man, being fascinated with mechanics or just machinery or just power, that type thing, and kind of like Tim the Toolman came, and took him in there, and there was these big gears and these cogs and these chains and levers and everything to make this humongous bridge just open and close. And so he showed the little boy around. He had a ball. They were kind of like that, just throwing it around and kicking it around and having fun in between things. And then his dad got pretty busy. He had to open it up and close it. He's fascinated with the bridge. But after 4 or 5 hours passed, he began to get a little bit bored. His dad had to get into his job. And so his sons were there playing with the ball. Of course, it was chained off, but he could still get under it. And sure enough, all of a sudden, he was playing with his boy a little bit with the ball, and he got distracted. And all of a sudden, a call came over the radio. It was an engineer saying, hey, the bridge is up. I'm so many miles out, or a mile and a half out, and we're coming steady, we're coming strong, and even I put on the brakes, man, I can't stop. The bridge is up. Get it down. Hurry, get it down. And buddy, he went over and started throwing those levers and everything, and those big old chains and cogs, and it just started moving and slowly lowering that bridge, and it looked like it was going to be good. He's got a passenger train, about 300 passengers on it, flying down through there, 70 miles an hour, coming toward it, and buddy, it looks like, okay, we're going to be fine. I mean, I'm getting down, he's slowing down as much as he can, he's going to make it. And right when the bridge is just almost down there, this little boy's ball went over around where the cogs were, and the little boy's pant leg got caught in one of those gears. And all of a sudden, he's focused on that bridge, and he was, Dad! Like, and he turns around, this little boy's pant leg is literally pulling his leg into that cog, and pulling him into that cog. And all of a sudden, he's got to make a decision. Hit that thing and stop, but if he does, the bridge is like this, and that passenger train is going to kill 300 people. So he's got a decision. He's got to make it in a split second. Do I pull the lever this way, or do I pull it back? Do I leave it, or do I pull it back? And it ended up, he left it. And the bridge went down, and that train goes like that. This little boy was killed. Crushed to death. And here's the thing. Those passengers went by totally unaware inside that building of the sacrifice that was just made, that his son gave his life so all of them could live. And some of you all have gone through life and come to this point, maybe totally unaware. Have you heard about Jesus? But you're like me. I mean, I raced motocross 7 years, was kind of an extreme crowd, and all of a sudden, hey, just all knew about it, but totally unaware of really what that meant. But then Jesus died for you, and he loves you. And I would say that, hey, he gave his son for you, and you can be saved, you can know him. God's never seen a teenager he doesn't love. And let me say this, he's never seen a situation he couldn't change. He's never seen God. Listen to this. Do you realize God's the creator of heaven and earth? Yeah. I mean, he made the universe, God Almighty. God has never seen a situation he couldn't change. God can change anything. And he can change your situation. He can change my situation. He's never seen a situation he couldn't change. I had a tragedy strike my family. I had one sister, and she had one son and one daughter. And Sean was the only one alive at this time. Alicia had been born. We all raced motocross, dirt bikes, that type of thing. My brother-in-law had about 3 4-wheelers. I had 3 or 4 bikes. I raced Magos. Back in the day, it was European bikes like Husqvarna, Mago. Now it's more Japanese bikes. But it ended up that my brother-in-law just got a new 350 Banshee. He already had 2 230 quad Suzukis and another, I think it was a Honda 300 EX or something. And he got this 350 Banshee. That's a bad bike. It really is. It's a 2-stroke, strong. And he got it, brought it home, and he locked it up. And he said, look, Sean stayed home from school. He had pink eye, real bad thing, pink eye. And he was contagious. He said, look, don't you touch that bike. He said, I'll take it out, I'll show you later. Don't you touch that bike. And so Curly went out arrowhead hunting that day. He was off. While he was out on the boat and everything, Sean decided, nobody's there, my sister was gone. He went and found the key, unlocked the lock, took the bike, went and showed it off to his friend, went down to his friend, picked him up, and then they took off. And he didn't put a helmet on. And we don't know if he didn't see the train or if he was trying to beat the train. We don't know. Where I grew up, my mom gave him that house and living there. It was 6 houses from the train tracks. And there's a house here and a house here, and a subdivision begins to start. And so you don't see the train until it pops out. Now, there's lights, but no barricade. And Sean took off, and that engine popped out. And Sean hit that engine. And the boy in the back lived. He was saved because Sean's body just cushioned the blow of that boy's body on him that was on the back. And Sean hit that engine. And that engine, he stuck to it. And it drug him about 300 feet, and it dumped him off in the ditch. I was called, and I was first one to the hospital. And they staff flighted him in, and I went there, and I saw one kid get off with a sheet over him, and I saw another kid that didn't. And I prayed an unselfish prayer. I said, God, whatever, God, please don't let me be Sean. I don't want to be the other kid either. And I remember going through that whole thing without taking a lot of time. I'll just say this. That was a real tragedy in our life. It was unbelievable. My brother-in-law just lost it. He went in shock. He went berserk, and I had to calm him down. I had to help him through that whole funeral situation. And honestly, they were like, well, Reno, you're being strong, man. You're strong. No, I wasn't strong. It was the Lord's strength. I'm telling you, I was ready to break down any moment myself. I'll tell you this. My sister, we went back there to look for a casket. And I remember my sister just weeping and leaving. She couldn't do it. I had to pick the casket up. Can I tell you this? It's not a fun day. It's not a good day. It's a hard thing to pick out a casket for a 14-year-old kid. And you know what? That situation was a tragic situation. But God's never seen a situation he couldn't change. It ended up, I preached a funeral. There were 250 teenagers or better at that funeral. And it ended up over 50 teenagers got saved at that funeral. Ended up, we had, the kids were hanging around the train tracks for like a week. They were trying yellow ribbons around the bells every day after school. I mean, 2 or 3 hours. I'm not exaggerating. For a week later, just 2 or 3 hours. They're just standing like they're lost. About 350 houses in that subdivision. I told my youth group, I said, look, we need to do something about that. So we went up, there was a Southern Baptist church, and they let us, we were going to rent the gym. They said, you just have it for this. So they gave us the gym. We announced in that subdivision, hey, there's going to be a memorial service. And some of those kids, for whatever reason, couldn't make the funeral. So we had this memorial service, and it ended up about 150 teenagers came to that. Sean was in the 8th grade, and he had a little girlfriend. And they were going together. I don't know where you go, you just go together, But I remember it was a sad thing that her mom called and said to my sister, Teresa said, that Sean liked, the little girl, and said, she just can't come to the funeral. So she wants to, but she just can't. So she's just broken heart. She just don't think she can make it. And she didn't. But by that time, a week had gone by, and she decided to come to this memorial service. And that little girl, when I preached, gave an invitation. She came forward and got saved. And it was about 48, 49 other kids, about 50. And here's a bad situation, but I was at least able to look at my brother-in-law and sister and say, hey, over 100 people got saved. Can I tell you this, that I decided that I would not let my nephew's death, he was saved, I let my nephew to the Lord. He went to youth conference, everything, and I decided not to let it be in vain. So Louisville has the second largest skateboard park in the country. LA is number 1, Louisville second. You go down there in the summer, there'll be 250, 300 boarders, bikers, and bladers there every Friday, every Saturday night. I began to have a service there 2-3 times a year. And I've had dozens, literally dozens. I've had 80, 100, 150 kids come to that preaching service. Boarders, bikers, fox racing, everything, their bikes, everything. And I've had 30, 50 saved, hundreds of people saved it. And can I tell you, God can take a bad situation and make it good?
Yeah.
Let me give you a personal testimony. Can I tell you this? My mom and dad divorced when I was 9 years old. Really, if you ask somebody, I'm not, down anybody's been divorced. I got a lot of my family. I'm just saying this. If you ask people personally, there's really nothing good about divorce. The only good thing about it is that when you're a kid, you get double Christmas presents. It's kind of like Toy Story, double prizes, but anyway, there's nothing good about it. But can I tell you this? God did work something good out of my stepmom. I wouldn't have to stepmom had me for divorce. And then my stepmom got saved, and she's the one that got me to Christ. But I grew up in a divorce home. Hey, I I was an extreme crowd. If you watch like it's X Games with Travis Pastrana and Brian Deegan and all that, you put Brother Reno, my hair was down to here. You see now, Brother Lambert, Brother Steve said, we got to speak to Brother Reno. I come up here flipping, my hair down. I mean, I did. My hair was down to there. I mean, it was wild, man. I'm telling you. It's thinned out now, but I'm just telling you. And that's how it was. My situation wasn't good. I was a kid that you did not want to live next door to. I had a stereo that would shake the windows of my house. I had a car that had a stereo that was worth more than the car was, I was one that vibrated your windows when you pull up at a red light. And, I quit school when I was 16. I thank God I went back, I went to college, but I quit because Mom had struggles from the divorce and had to help her and those type of things. You did not want me to live in your neighborhood.